Hello, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here today, my name is Audrey. We are here to break down and give the worst to best Scooby-Doo TV series. If it wasn't clear, I'm a massive Scooby-Doo fan, and I am finally able to share what is the best Scooby-Doo series ever, which we will get to. Probably in part 2, because I'm going to have to make this video two-parter because there are a bunch of Scooby-Doo TV shows. There are listed, says 14, however Scooby and Scrappy-Doo is like 3 different shows, so I've included that as one. And I'm not including the Laugh Olympics because I think that is a variety show, it's not really a Scooby series. I think most of these have value. Some I don't think you should waste your time on. So we'll go ahead and talk about that. And I'm starting with worst going to best. So most Scooby series I like. There is, I think, one of these I hate. And that's it. It's just one I don't like. But if you're new here, I would love for you to subscribe. There will be more upcoming Scooby videos in the future. I am trying to do a films as well. This is including the straight to DVD films, so basically anything that's on Boomerang. That's a little hard. There are about 45 straight to DVD Scooby-Doo movies, plus then the 2 live action theatrical ones, then Scoob. So there's a lot of Scooby movies. You'll have to wait for that. But I also do all sorts of other content on here. There's something for everyone. I do beauty vlogs, declutter stuff recently because I am moving. Comics, as in Marvel and DC, and other stuff like The Boys. I do a lot of stuff, so not kid-friendly stuff as well. But I would love for you to stick around, and I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Yeah, so if I don't separate Scrappy, this is how it is. If I have Scooby-Doo and Scrappy-Doo as the show when both it's the actual mysteries going on, which includes the first season, and then also the little serials that don't really make sense, that's the different story. So I'm including those as one show, so that affects this ranking. My cat decided it's playtime with a little annoying thing right now. So, last, and I know some people are going to be sad about this, but I have to give it to a pup named Scooby-Doo. This show annoyed me. It was, you know what, theming, setting-wise, fine. It was fine. In the aspect that it was clearly in the 50s because that's when they would have been young, so there was so much doo-wopping going on, which I'm a person who loves music, but the overabundance of music was annoying. The ghosts are very silly, which makes sense. It was way more kid-oriented. It just does not make sense to me that they got rid of Scrappy because they thought the little puppy was annoying. So then naturally you make Scooby-Doo a puppy. The thing that makes Scooby great is not when he's a little baby. It's him as an adult, huge, cowering dog. That's what's great about Scooby-Doo. To this show's credit, I will give it that both Casey Kasem and Don Messick were both voicing Scooby and Shaggy, which is the highlight of this show. I think if maybe they had the other characters doing their voice, the young voices, it would have been better. Fred was absolutely obnoxious in the show, and Fred is an annoying leader, like, don't get me wrong, and I know he's a little kid, but I couldn't deal with this. If I was a kid, I could see why it would be enjoyable to kids, but I just did not like this one. Coming in at number 11 is Shaggy and Scooby-Doo Get a Clue. Did not know this show existed. I don't know what they were thinking with this. I watched it because I like Scooby content. Now, people have issues with Be Cool Scooby-Doo's animation. This animation is atrocious. It's way worse. There's a weird German villain, like a World War II-esque German villain, which is wild that's still, like, that's the villain now. I mean, it's been a very long time since World War II. So it's just a little odd placement, and then there's not really monsters at play. The gang is not in it. It's just Scooby and Shaggy. The only cool thing is, like, Scooby gets these super-powered Scooby snacks to help him fight missions, but it's just, I don't even know what's going on. I do like Ruby, I think is his name, the robot character. That's nice. And then Uncle Alfred is played by Casey Kasem, which I appreciate. The voice acting for Shaggy is real weak. Frank Welker is Scooby-Doo, as he is in most of the stuff once Don Messick died. I have certain feelings about Frank Welker's Scooby-Doo. I think it's pretty hit or miss. But since he's going to be voicing in a lot of this, there's more to come on that. This plot is just weak, and you don't have any of the gang there, and it's not even Scooby-Doo. It's just the characters in weird scenarios. That's what's going on in this. Number 10 has to go down to Scooby-Doo and Scrappy-Doo. In both aspects, I'd say average together. If this was the 10-minute serials in which there's literally no monsters and they're running around like JAs, then that would be the last thing, because that was literally the most annoying thing to watch. And I watched a video about this that proved the point that Scrappy-Doo is not the bad thing in this show. Shaggy and Scooby-Doo are horrible role models. Scooby is supposed to be this little yip-yaps caretaker. That's not good at all. And it doesn't work unless there's another adult member of the gang there, which we'll get to. The first season of this show is classic Scooby-Doo with Scrappy thrown in the mix to get ratings up for kids. However, I got this little dog who's a puppy, and he's talking in this big New York voice, and he's literally like, he sounds like a 50, 60-year-old man. It is creepy. I don't know what they thought. Scrappy gets so much better when Don Messick voices him, as he voices both Scooby and Scrappy. It works so much better. I think Scrappy becomes a better character. Yes, Scrappy is annoying. He's an annoying little kid. However, his annoying level goes through the roof when he doesn't have the other adult characters with him, when it's just Scooby and Shaggy, and they're the idiots that are getting themselves in all this mess. So that's more so on them. Scrappy does get some sort of redemption and is an okay character later on, although now the Scooby-Doo movies and TV shows just want to make him the butt of the joke, which he wasn't the worst part of these shows. The show was just bad. I mean, at this time, Scooby-Doo was second billing to Richie Rich. That's weak. Like, that's not good at all. But they have to acknowledge that Scrappy-Doo kept Scooby-Doo running because he boosted ratings. He brought in a lot of views for them. So that's my hashtag justice for Scrappy-Doo moment for this part of the video. Right after that is the later iteration of the Scooby-Doo and Scrappy-Doo show, which is the new Scooby and Scrappy-Doo show, and then it's later referred to as the new Scooby-Doo Mysteries. This is when we have the foursome, which sounds really wrong. Not in that way, you sickos. It's Scooby, Shaggy, Scrappy, and Daphne, which I think is a dynamic that really works. Daphne takes very good care of Scrappy, helps balance out his craziness. Scrappy is always wanting to tussle with people, and Daphne is like, you know what? Don't start stuff for Scrappy. And Scrappy's like, okay, Daphne, you're right, you know that. But like Scooby would be like, oh, Gorge, like, I don't know what to do. Blah, blah, blah. I don't know why I gorged him, like he was goofy for a second. But yeah, this is when Scooby and Scrappy-Doo gets better. I will say I watched this first because I did not realize that it came after, and that's why particularly I feel like it's really hard to watch. This has some good Scooby-Doo episodes in it. They are shorter. They're about 12-minute episodes. There are some episodes where the gang is involved, which I think is great. This has a very 80s theme song. we're not saying the classic as in Scooby-Dooby-Doo, where are you? Is in that one, as in the more common Scooby-Doo theme song if you watch more of the Scooby-Doo shows, which is Scooby-Doo, looking for you. Scooby-Doo, where are you? That's the one. So it has that song, but it has like a 80s beat, and then the monsters do the Thriller dance, which is really interesting to watch. But there's some good ones. I mean, I think there's one where they go to like a monster party, and they're helping the monsters solve a mystery, and that was like a really good episode. And also, this time they are not afraid to be like, yeah, they're real monsters. And that's what is good parts of Scooby-Doo. I mean, if you look at the people's most favorite Scooby-Doo straight-to-DVD movie, it's Zombie Island, because there's real monsters. People like the real monsters. So you don't have to always have it be a man in a mask. I understand that's how Scooby-Doo works. I don't mind it when it's that way, but when they do implements supernatural elements, the show is better. Just saying. Okay, so 2 more for this video, and then I will be starting part 2. Because I'm just going to film it all at once, but I don't want to bore y'all to death. So, not bore you to death, but take too much of your time, because we love to talk about Scooby-Doo over here. So the next one is actually going to be, this is what comes in at number 8, is What's New Scooby-Doo? Shocking, because when I was a kid, this was my jam. This show was incredible. I absolutely loved it. It was like, loved it. This is a great show. This is just, there's so much wrong with What's New Scooby-Doo. There are things that I love about What's New Scooby-Doo. I really enjoy the newer voice actors. I think they work. Casey Kasem is in the show. This is his last series as Shaggy, so he sounds old, because he was an old man, so it works out. Frank is Scooby-Doo, and I feel like he hadn't gotten into his groove yet when he was voicing Scooby-Doo. Like I said, Frank Welker as Scooby is pretty hit or miss. He's a great voice actor, don't get me wrong, but it's very hard to live up to the classic Scooby voice of Don Messick. Love that man, and may he rest in peace. He died in 1999. But, I think the newer voice actors are great, and they get brought on a little bit at a time. Velma's changed quite a bit. I think at this point it is, I can't remember what her name is, but it's not Nicole Jaff, because Nicole Jaff is the older Velma. We switched to Gray Delisle Griffin. I think she's a great Daphne. And then Frank's always been Fred, which works. I like their new clothes. I think that's something they're afraid to do in Scooby-Doo, is to change their outfits. But I think you kind of should. I don't think if you change their outfits, it's going to affect the characters too much. I do like that Shaggy usually keeps his outfit from the 60s, because he's a hippie, so it would work. But I think they should get an outfit update. It would work better. A lot of issues I have with this, they really, really, really hone in on the fact that it's always a man in a mask. Monsters, supernatural elements don't exist. Velma constantly is out here saying that stuff, and in this universe it's clear that they don't. The animation is super bright. It doesn't have any of the old classic feel as the originals do, as the 60s, 70s, and even 80s versions of the shows. It's too bright, it's too kiddish, which worked really well when I was younger. The theme song is amazing. I will say that. Yeah, that's pretty much where it is with What's New Scooby-Doo. And coming in at number 7, surprisingly, I'd say because I had high hopes for this one, is Scooby-Doo and Guess Who. This is a Boomerang exclusive Scooby-Doo series. It is on Boomerang. They have started airing it on CW? Cartoon Network. So they have started airing it on Cartoon Network. However, it originated on Boomerang, and it's not done. It's still in production. The last episode that aired was with Alex Trebek, who passed away recently. Now, this has great episodes. There are great episodes of this. I think there are 3 episodes in a row in particular that I think that you should watch of this show. So there is the guest star with Batman, then it goes to Mark Hamill as the guest star, then it goes to The Flash as the guest star. Mark Hamill's in all those episodes, which, spoiler, will tell you the villain for the Batman and The Flash episode. So those 3 episodes are great. I just don't think that the others really live up to it. I think there are great funny moments with this. It's just, I feel like some of the guests they chose were a little bit odd, in my opinion, for what this is. And I don't think they really knew where they wanted to set this. The animation is more classic. They have a theme song that's very similar to Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? But it is essentially a reboot of the new Scooby-Doo movies, which is where they have the guest stars from back in the 70s. I think that works much better. This just is a little out of time. It doesn't really know where it should be and all of that. I think it's a pretty decent Scooby-Doo show, though. And I think the voice acting is great. Frank is way better as Scooby in this, which kind of surprised me because some of the shows that have been more recent, I think he was not as good. This one, he really seems to be in on his own. I mean, there are great Scooby moments in this series. Particularly, it's just, we're getting back to there's no such thing as ghost thing. From Velma, I find Velma, in a lot of these series, tends to be particularly annoying. And I love all the Scooby-Doo characters, so me saying that doesn't mean I hate them, so don't take it that way. But it's just like, I don't think Daphne has that much to do in this either, which tends to be Daphne syndrome. She doesn't really get a personality in a lot of things other than just being rich. So that is rounding out the bottom 6 of Scooby-Doo ranking. Stay tuned for part 2, which will be the top 6 best Scooby-Doo series. We have a lot of shows left. Let me know down below what you think that my number 1 pick is. If you already know it, don't say it. Don't spoil it for everyone. I will let you know. It might surprise you because a lot of people have said a specific show is the best Scooby-Doo series, and I don't agree with that. So let me know what you think my favorite Scooby-Doo series is down below, and I will thumbs up whether you're right or wrong, and then we'll find out in part 2. So stay tuned, and if you're new here, I'd love for you to subscribe, and you can check out another video here. Bye!